Okay, we'll go ahead and get started here. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on your time zone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for our DS3 series webinar. This webinar will focus on the new DS3 product line and will hopefully help you understand why it's a game changer for solar. We'll be looking at some features and benefits of this new platform, and we'll show you the best practices for putting it to work in your business and with your customers. I'm Jason Higginson. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing at APsystems. Been with APsystems for 7 years now, and in the solar industry for 12, and in power technology even longer than that. On the call with me this morning is Pascal Leroux, our Global Director of Technical Services, and Crystal Davis, our U.S. Head of Technical Support. We're all excited to be with you today. So some housekeeping. We have a Q&A and a chat box for any questions that you may have. We'll address those questions at the end of the webinar. We're also going to provide each of you with a copy of this PowerPoint, and we're also recording this, and we're going to throw it up on YouTube and send everyone a link so you can view it at your convenience. I also want to remind people to please take advantage of part 2, the training, the second half of this training, which is happening tomorrow, Thursday, April 28th. You can register for that at the same location you used to register for this webinar, or you can go to our website and click on the resources link, and under training webinars is where we have the registration for that. Quick agenda. I'll be going through some about us. We'll briefly look at the product overview and some of the benefits, and then we're going to go over system design, installation, techniques and best practices, and then we'll briefly touch on the ECU and the EMA and their capabilities, but we're primarily going to review ECU and EMA tomorrow's webinar. So APsystems was founded in Silicon Valley in 2010. We're a global provider of MLPE equipment for the solar PV industry. We have R&D centers in the US and in China. Our worldwide business units, we have 4 of them. Our EMEA business unit is in Rotterdam and Lyon, France. Our US business unit is based out of Seattle. We also have an office in San Francisco. Our Latin America business unit is in Guadalajara. And we also have our Asia Pacific business unit, which is based out of Jiaxing in Shanghai. We have offices in Canada and Australia as well. Some key facts about APsystems: we're the #2 solar microinverter supplier in the world. We're #1 when it comes to multi-module microinverters, which are microinverters that serve more than one PV module. We have over 2 gigawatts of solar installed worldwide, and that's more than 2 million microinverters. We're serving customers in more than 100 countries. We have over 150,000 installations worldwide. And we offer we're on some third-party financing AVLs, including Mosaic, Sungage, Dividend, White Green, and LoanPow, which is now GoodLeap. So introducing the DS3. So the DS3, fundamentally, it's a dual microinverter, so it connects to 2 PV modules, which provides a faster installation overall. Comes in 240 volt split phase or single phase in the US, or 208. We specifically designed this product for today's high capacity PV modules, and we'll go into more detail on that. It also comes with an encrypted ZigBee wireless, which creates a mesh network for high speed data transfer. It's got a new cooling topology that allows it to hit some of those higher power conversion rates. It also comes with 20% fewer components than previous generations, so it increases the reliability. We have a 10-year standard product with a 15-year warranty extension option. And it's also UL 1741 or California or SA, California Rule 21 compliant. So what does DS3 mean? So the D stands for dual input. S is for the split phase or single phase, And this is the third generation of our dual module microinverters. So we named it the DS3. Some of you may recall the YC500 and the YC600. Those are the previous generations of this product. So the DS3 comes in 3 different models that we're offering in the US. So we have the DS3S, the DS3L, and the DS3 by name only at 880 watts. So we progressively stepped up the power capacity in these units so that we could cover a wide array of PV module sizes. And this is a slide just to show you that this is a global rollout. So there's different capacities of the DS3, but it's the same architecture that we're using. So that allows us to build these different varieties for different regions upon the same architecture. And by using that same architecture, we can get economies of scale on that product model. And invariably, we pass that savings on to installers and end users. So to explain a little bit more about our DS3 series models, we have the S, which is operating at 640 watts. It's 320 watts per channel. It's ideal for PV modules under 400 watts. And then it's actually, we started out with the DS3 at 880 watts, which was too powerful for some of our partners to take on board. And so we decided to step down the power just a bit with some other models that could be used in residential settings. So one of the ways that we did that is we noticed that on a typical installation, residential installation, there was about 40 amps of service available on a 200 amp panel, sometimes 60, but it usually was around 40 amps ideal for 2 20 amp strings of microinverters. But the maximum you can load on a 20 amp breaker is 16 amps per NEC code. So we were able to design the microinverter so that we could maximize it with 5 microinverters per string, which came out to 3.2 amps per unit. At 240 volts, it was exactly 768 watts. So no one had ever really done this before, which is to work the math backward from the allowable amount of amps per circuit breaker to come out with the ideal wattage. And so this also maximizes the amount of energy that you are able to put through on each of those breakers. So it comes out to 384 watts per channel, which makes it ideal for PV modules up to 460, 480. So for the DS3S, PV modules under 400, for the DS3L, PV modules up to 460 or 480, and for the DS3 at 880 watts for any PV modules that are over that amount. So by way of comparison here, we wanted to show you the competing microinverter, for example, the Enphase IQ series with the 7 and the 8. So our continuous output power per channel comes out to be much greater than what these microinverters are offering. So if you look at the AC to DC ratio, which most installers are using, it's 1.2 or 1.25, you see that the APsystems microinverters are capable of harnessing the power of the PV modules that exceed 365 watts. So anything above that amount, the IQ series is just not designed to handle to handle PV modules that exceed that wattage. So that's where APsystems comes in. It's our sweet spot in really being able to harness the capacity of those higher wattage PV modules. It also requires fewer inverters per circuit, and therefore fewer PV modules to actually make that same capacity. So there's definitely some benefits there. What you're seeing in the amps per channel is you're seeing an increase in the amount of amps that we are able to get out of each of our microinverters compared with competing solutions. So our microinverters, coupled with our state-of-the-art gateway, it's our ECU-R. So this device communicates the data that's from the energy that's being produced on the roof and communicates it to our EMA in the cloud. So it takes that microinverter data that's coming to it via ZigBee, and then it backhauls it through the homeowner or site owner's router, and then sends it up to the cloud so they can view it all online. It is also cellular capable. This is our EMA. This is the online monitoring portal. So site owners will be able to see their production on a module level, and also installers will be able to see a complete fleet view. What does that look like? So here's some data that they would be able to see. So not just the fleet view of every single one of their installations, but they'll be able to drill into each of those systems, look at the inverter performance, look at the performance over time. They'll be able to use the diagnostic tools on there to determine any issues for troubleshooting. So they'll be able to tell if it's a disconnected cable, it's a bad panel, it's bad communication, etc. Be able to look at each of these on a per module and per inverter basis. We also have all of those tools online and that fleet view capability in the palm of your hand. So the EMA Manager app enables installers to be able to view all of that, as well as completely commission the system using their smartphone. So this device, or this app, actually replaces the ECU app from APsystems. So it combines both the EMA capability and the ECU app now in the EMA Manager app. So I highly encourage you to download that. It's available on the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. Very, very handy. All right, so now we're going to hand it off to, I believe, Pascal for a product overview and some benefits. Pascal, can you hear? Or is that Crystal? Are you taking this one?
No, that will be me, Jason. I had some problems unmuting myself. I hope I come over clear and loud.
Yes, you sound good.
Perfect. So thank you, Jason. I also would like to welcome you all. I'm Pascal Lareux. I'm based in Belgium. I'm like Jason, 14 years or over into solar and 2 years at APsystems. Overgoing, just a second, this should be better. Yes, overviewing the structure and build-up of our split-phase microinverter. A quick scan of the product shows us on top of the micro, we have the fixture that lets you attach the micro onto the racking. On the top right side, you can see 2 serial numbers that are removable on stickers. They can be used for entering into the monitoring portal. More details on that tomorrow during commissioning. We proceed to the ZigBee antenna. That ZigBee antenna enables the communication with the ECU, as Jason said. It collects the data and is sent to our servers. On the bottom, there is an inspection LED that gives you a quick status of the microinverter. Then the AC connector hooks it up to our bus cable that connects the microinverter to the grid. And all our micros have the same external components. So if you're used to having a QS1 or a YC600 in the past, the same goes for the new DS3. Proceeding to the bus cable. Can you pop up the next slide, Jason? Thanks. So our bus cable can handle up to 20 amps and is compatible with all our current single-phase microinverters. One bus cable can handle 7 YC600, 6 DS3L, and up to 5 DS3D due to the higher output. Just make sure never to overcharge the bus cable of those 20 amps. We have this bus cable in 2 and 4 meters between connectors. Crystal will tell us some more about that later on. There is also a single AC cable for connecting just one unit directly to the grid. Proceeding on to our accessories. So our split phase accessories only consist of 6 items, nothing more, nothing less. So no overfull toolboxes or vans. You have the end cap for closing up the free end of the bus cable, an AC bus connector cap that closes up any free connector on our bus cable. Then next, but not least, the disconnection tool. We do emphasize to use this disconnection tool whenever you need to disconnect the micro from the bus cable. Of course, using screwdrivers can end up breaking the latches on both sides of the connector that keeps the connector together. So this could lead to possible future bad connections on microinverters or a malfunction. It only costs a few dollars and it's way less inexpensive than a truck roll. I think we can all agree that this little tool can really be a money saver. We also offer MC4 caps that close up any free inputs on the microinverter, an AC connector that connects the extension cable to our bus cable, and then DC extension cables which are optional. Those are quite popular with the new half-cut cells because both junction boxes are on the extremities of the panels, so they can become quite handy. Showing next is our typical installation diagram. Can you get, yes, thanks. So right to left, we have the end cap securing the open end of the bus cable, making it watertight again. Next, we have the microinverter. Apparently here we have an odd amount of panels, so we can use the DC caps for correct closure of the free input. The AC bus cap, as shown, can close up any free connector passing by a chimney or a tilt roof or another obstacle on the roof, that is. Bringing it up to the last microinverter on our bus cable to be connected to the installation's main breaker box. The next slide shows some details on our ECUR. The ECUR, it has 2 dedicated antennas. One handles the Wi-Fi, the other one handles the encrypted communication, ZigBee communication with the micros. Always check if 2 LEDs are well lit up before starting configuration. This ensures a smooth commissioning. A little exception on the ECU-B. It can only be connected through Wi-Fi. The ECUR can have both, but on the ECU-B there is no Ethernet port. You just power up the ECUR via an adapter. You just put it in any wall outlet. Now we proceed to the ZigBee channel on next slide. Indeed, all our present microinverters use this communication, and they, as Jason said, can function as a relay station. A micro can send and receive data from another microinverter to send it to the ECU, even if that microinverter is not into direct communication with that ECU. An ECU can address up to 75 micros depending on the environment. Obstacles can hinder signal. We use the Texas Instrument Karamba chip, as Jason said, to ensure perfect encryption. On to the next slide that shows you some ZigBee communication. Again, whenever a site is experiencing bad or poor communication or no comm between the inverters and the ECU, there are several steps you can take to rectify this issue. The antennas can be combined with extension cables. Just make sure to use the correct SMA type connectors. They are dedicated connectors for high frequency signal transmission. Be aware that APsystems does not provide those extension cables. They can be bought separately, third party. I will now pass it on to Crystal for some system design.
Thank you. So we have the DS3 that's intended for the residential split phase, but it can be balanced for the 3-phase 208. We also have the QT2 that's coming out the end of Q2. As you see below, we have some module compatibility, but what I recommend is taking a look at our eDecider. If it's unclear or you need a little bit more assistance, just reach out to our team and we'll help you through reading the specs. So here we have panels in portrait with a dual inverter. You'll see that the meter between drops is standard, which is 2 meter drop for the split phase. Same here for the dual input in landscape. And when using the dual in a single row landscape, 4 meter bus cable is used to be able to close the gap between them. Here you'll see below is our 600 and QS1, YC1000s. They have 2 mounting points here. We've reduced it to 1 so that it saves on soft costs. You want to make sure that you have a minimum of 1.5 centimeters around the inverter so that you'll be able to have enough space there to allow heat to go around and it will be able to dissipate. For the quad, it was 2 centimeters. So you just want to make sure that you're allowing for that amount of space, and then just tucking in your cable so that it doesn't get any kind of direct sunlight. Here as soon as you're laying in your inverters and cable, you should hear an audible click so that you know that it is properly connected. Okay, and you have, for the connecting the end cap to the bus cable, you'll have your cable jacket, insert the wires right into there and insert the cable end into it so that it seals, rotate, and then you're set to go so that it's weatherproof. You don't have any kind of environmental exposure. Okay, and Pascal went over this a little bit. You have your trunk cable with your inverters. You can cap off whatever you don't need. Bring it in from the bus cable. You have your DC solution, and then, of course, your AC is pulling in. And then for your ECUR, it can be plugged in anywhere. Doesn't need to be right next to the breaker box. Just so that you know, if you've had experience with our legacy products, it could be anywhere near, or it could be closer to the router. I recommend getting it as close to the router. It can go out and reach quite a distance for ground mounts. If you have a situation where you have a basement, we recommend to keep it on the main level so that the dense brick is not creating any kind of signal issues, just like you would with a cell phone or Wi-Fi. You just want to keep it where it is able to communicate with the inverters really well. If you have any situations where there's a metal roof or obstacles, you're welcome to give us a call. We'll definitely walk you through and give you some options. All right, and Pascal is going to walk through the ECU steps.
Thank you, Crystal. So on ECU steps, it's quite easy. You place your ECU, download the manager if you haven't done it before. You just set time and date, scan your microinverters with the camera function of your mobile device, arrange the array, verify communication, and tomorrow we're going to go a bit more in depth on that one. So we'll cover a lot more on that commissioning tomorrow. A wired connection is always recommended for connecting the ECU to the grid as the default connection. It is the easiest and fastest way to connect to our servers and the most future-proof, even if the end user changes his router or provider. At that time, the connection with the cable is also assured. Of course, there's the possibility to do it via Wi-Fi. So whenever a wired internet connection is not possible, we offer, of course, the ECUR with Wi-Fi connections. So be aware that Wi-Fi on any device is less reliable on the life of a system, as your homeowner will change router or possibly change his password or ISPs. We have seen a lot of truck rolls out to fix internet issues, so do yourself a favor and only use the Wi-Fi feature whenever it's absolutely necessary. So for rural installations, we advise a third-party cell router. Once the ECU gateway is set up, at the time all inverters are communicating and you have verified the connectivity and energy production through the EMA manager, you are now ready to finalize the setup. And in the EMA portal, we will cover a lot of the EMA steps and tools in our training webinar tomorrow. However, here's a quick overview of what you can do to into the EMA to finish the site setup. Again, set up the system's owner account, which is his dedicated account for monitoring his newly acquired installation. Connect your account to the ECU you installed. You just finalize the array configuration. You can drag drop the panels on a white canvas. Provide the system owner with their EMA account login. This is done automatically after finishing up the installation. I will now kick it back to Jason. He will talk about some key advantages whenever you would choose for APsystems.
Thank you, Pascal and Crystal. Appreciate that. So as you can tell, it's a very simple installation. The microinverters go in, and then you finish the commissioning through the ECU, so it's communicating with the account that you create in the cloud. So some of the benefits of using APsystems and this very simple kind of 3-point architecture. It's a very fast installation because of the nature of multi-module microinverters. It comes in about 50 to 75% faster in terms of microinverter install time than in-phase. You're also able to mix and match all of those DS3 models on a single circuit. We mixed and matched together. Not only that, but they can also be mixed and matched with previous generation of products, the YC600, the DS or the QS1. Those can also be included because it's the same trunk cable, it's the same connectors, and they all use the same ECU. So when you think about that in terms of the products that, like Pascal said, that you have to stock in your truck, It's just the one trunk cable, the same connectors, the same gateway device that you're using for every single one of those installations. So those reduced stocking costs, they also, the different models, they cover from 300 watts to 550 watts in terms of a PV module range. So it's very versatile. You could use that in a variety of installations with a variety of panels. So just about every panel within that range, you'd be able to utilize. You just need to make sure that with the specs and the data sheet that your PV modules are compatible. Crystal had mentioned our eDecider. That's the best way to do that. You can go to the APsystems website, go to resources, and in our library is a link to the eDecider. And you can click on that. I think it's actually under our apps section. And you'll be able to plug in all of your PV module information, and it'll tell you what products that it's compatible with. So that's the best way to do that. No combiner box is needed since with the AC connectors, you can just connect to that right into your sub panel. It's flexible sizing as well. To grow your system, you simply need to add more microinverters. One ECU can handle up to 75 DS3 units. So that would be 150 PV modules. So it's well equipped for any expansion on a residential system. So if you have somebody that wants to, they've got inverters on their house and they want to add panels onto their garage, or something else like even a ground mount in the back, we can do all of that with the same ECU. Just simply add more microinverters. So a very simple system design, as you can see, can scale to whatever your desired capacity. You're not having to stock different varieties of sizes of string inverters. You just simply, add more microinverters, as I mentioned. The ZigBee is much faster than PLC in terms of the data communication. The transfer, it's up to 3 times faster. There's a lot more data that's required from to be exchanged from the microinverter and the gateway these days. And so that's the fastest way to be able to do that. Also, it enables our field upgradability, so our firmware can be updated in the field thanks to that high-speed ZigBee. The rapid shutdown compliance is inherent in the product because they all remain under that 80-volt threshold. All microinverters from APsystems are inherently compliant with rapid shutdown, the NAC 690.12, just by default. So we also have a local support team, which covers from 8 a.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. We don't send any calls overseas. Also have a very strong financial foundation, strong financial backing. We have cash reserve. We have an untouched warranty reserve to date, and we've been profitable every year for the past 10 years. So I wanted to point out some other APsystems resources that we have on our website. There's a support page that not only gives you kind of the 1, 2, 3 steps on how to become an APsystems installer, learn about our product and put in the system, but it also is right on that page is a form to contact our support team. This goes into a shared mailbox that all of our US support team shares, so you don't have to worry about somebody missing something because they're on vacation. We have cross coverage, so highly recommend you use that. Our training page has all of our current training materials and videos, including webinars that we've done like this one. So I encourage you to check out our training page. Lots of great resources there. Our registration page is where you would go to register yourselves as an APsystems installer. So you'll send that request, and within 48 hours, typically we're able to create and assign your account so that you can create your homeowner accounts. So that part of that fleet view, you'll be able to see those homeowner accounts that you've created and connected to the ECUs that you've installed in the field that are communicating with those system microinverters. So it all starts with that registration page. We also have a product documentation library that has data sheets. It has product manuals, all of our certifications on our products, and all of our installation guides. So I highly encourage you to check that out. And then also our YouTube channel youtube.com/APsystems solar. We have a variety of different videos there from our legacy products, but also our current products. So if you want some more information or are looking for past webinars or other information, we also have some that other installers have actually put up on our behalf. So highly encourage you to check out all of our videos that we have online. Then we're going to review some of the exact steps. So we kind of gave you a brief overview of what those next steps are for the ECU and the EMA. And tomorrow we're going to walk you through each of those steps so that you know exactly how to commission the ECU, how to set up the array, and put all that information in the gateway, and then how to connect that to the EMA in the cloud, how to set up those customer accounts, and how to finish all of that online. So that's some exciting stuff coming up tomorrow. Then we also, here's the phone number for our tech support team for North America, as well as the US support team email address, and then that of Canada as well. We also have a support email address if you're from Latin America. So you can do support.latam. You can also email info.latam, and that will also get to that team as well. So that concludes our DS3 installation training for today. Again, please join us tomorrow. And for now, we're going to turn to our Q&A. We can field some of your questions if you have any. Feel free to use the chat box and the Q&A box to send us any of your questions that you may have.
Thank you. The one question did come through. What do they use when a customer is in a rural setting and may not have internet available, or possibly that they are beyond the distance that we recommend? So there's external antennas that you can put out if it's beyond the 250 feet. You can push it out to a mile. For people that are a little bit closer to Canada, you might have some trees and stuff like that. There is an AirMax that we recommend. Does really well with a dense wooded area. But the other question that I received was if they need to use a cell router. I sent it in the chat so that everyone has it. Most installers have experiences with this one, so that's the only reason why I recommend it, just because you probably have already seen it, had experience setting it up. Really easy, but you can really use any kind of cell router. You can use dongles if you would like. Anything like that, you just connect it. Really easy to set up. Just let me know if you have any additional questions. We can help you through the process of getting it set up or giving you some options. As built, paperwork will help us to get an idea of what you're looking at for setup for your ECU and your system. If someone wants to go ahead and get Emily's question.
Yeah, so it looks like we have a question that's, can you address future battery backup applications? Yeah, so at this time, APsystems can be used with any AC coupled battery backup system, considering that they operate independently. In terms of an integrated system, we do not currently have one. We have one under development that we would be looking for availability probably sometime early next year. But yeah, currently that's still under develop. However, for commercial systems, we're partnering with Yada Energy on their commercial energy storage system. Uses our QS1 microinverter. So yeah, we highly encourage you if you're looking for three-phase battery backup for commercial applications, to check out Yotta Energy. It's YOTTA energy.com. Okay, I'm seeing another question in our Q&A section. What is the distance that the ECU can communicate with the microinverters?
Without any obstacles, you're looking at 250 feet, or if we have some people that are outside of the US joining us today, 75 meters. If you have any buildings in the way, we can help you navigate that as a team. Just send in what you have and give us as much detail. You can even, most people that have a ground mount will set up the ECU inside of their home and just have it in the window that's facing the ground mount.
Thank you. There's another question. Does this setup / commissioning process change by country?
No.
No.
Yeah, I think that's one of the nice things convenient about how the APsystems set up across the globe is, yeah, it's the same process.
The only thing that needs to be checked is the grid profile, but all grid profiles are preloaded, so that shouldn't be any problem.
Perfect. All right, that's it for the Q&A that I'm seeing. Yeah, and as always, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to our technical support team, support.usa@apsystems.com. You can also use that form that's on our support page on our website. And yeah, this concludes our training for this morning. We look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.